for you when you see these Zoom things back? You know, that you're able to
Yeah.
look at them? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I am recording, great. And now Stephen's also got a question too. And so I am gonna go back to that homework so that we can discuss it with several people if that's, that question coming up. Okay, so for example, Guillermo, go ahead, Steve. So what is it that you see that doesn't look understandable to you? Are you there?
Yes, I think you left a comment saying that I should be careful with filling chords because they're like half a step away from the ton size chord.
Right. Okay. So for example, the one in F major we actually did in class, but do you notice that? Because I do have yours. Is that okay if I put your assignment up?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I should have asked that before I totally displayed it on the screen. But anyway, you can see that the 5 of 5, totally correct. G major. You have to put the B natural in it. 5/7 of 5 is an extension of that. It's a G7. That's totally correct. And then I put the bubble on the next one because the 7 of 5, remember the 5 chord in the key of F is a C major. So anything that I'm trying to create a leading tone to, C major is the tonic note now, has to be a half step below. So that 7 of 5 should be a B diminished, not a B flat diminished. Do you see that?
Can you repeat that?
Yes. Okay. Is the audio not good, you guys? Is the audio not coming through good?
That's fine. I just.
Okay. Okay. So if I'm going to do the 7 of 5, and the 5 happens to be a C chord, so every one of these secondary movements, secondary dominant or secondary leading tone, always tonicizes. So if C is my tonic that I'm trying to tonicize, what is the 7 of it? What's the leading tone of something going to C? It would be a B, natural. Therefore, the chord has to be a B fully diminished, not B flat.
I made a mistake.
Was that Amy who just said that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just looked at yours. I hadn't graded, but I saw some things there. Yes. So what you want to do is you want to make sure if you're saying 7 of whatever, it's got to be a half step below it because that's what a leading tone chord is.
Oh, so the key signature doesn't play in the 7? Like
The key signature doesn't play a role in the 7th if it's a secondary leading tone. If it's the 7 of the key you're in, no problem, you're going to have it. But I mean, literally, what we're doing is we're tonicizing C, right? Because C is the 5 chord of F. So then, in reality, you're thinking more of the key of C than you are the key of F. If you're trying to think of leading, yeah. And actually, I'm trying to even maybe, yeah. If you take your chords from, thinking key based, then that's kind of what you would do. Otherwise, you just go, hey, if I'm going to do a leading tone chord to anything, it's always going to be a half step below. That's why when you did a D diminished going to E flat in the next example, those were all correct. 6 through 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are all correct. And then what happened in the next example over here, is that when we're in the key of D major, the key chord is E minor, and the 5 chord of E minor is B major. You got that right. And the 5/7 is B dominant 7. You got that right. But then the 7 chord is not D because that's a whole step away from E. It would be D sharp diminished.
So we're kind of using like the key signature of the tone size chord.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I should go back for the test and redo it.
Yes, because if you did do that on the test, it'll be problematic, you bet. Yeah, we remember secondary dominants or secondary leading tones are chords that you're adding in addition to the key that you're in, or they're alterations. So that D natural would not be a leading tone of the E that you're trying to go to. That's the only, so you got to just think of it as being borrowed from the tonic of the key that of the chord that you're trying to emphasize.
Okay, thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Okay. And you know what? Several people did that. That you are not the only person who did that. Let's see here. I made comments on a few others. Let's see here. On David, it was just, no, he got all the leading tones and everything like that. It was just a few notes. And then I think Ian got it completely right. Yeah, Ian didn't make any mistakes here. And then Sammy, I think you got it all correct too. I don't think, oh no, there was a couple of things. Yes, same thing happened there. You see that, Sammy?
Yeah, I thought we need to follow the scale, not the second chord.
Well, okay. And I hope I didn't mislead you guys, but when we're talking about following the scale, we're just talking about whatever happens to be in the key signature still remains all the way across. So in that example there in D major, all of my F sharps and C sharps will remain F sharp and C sharp. So I don't want to touch those notes. But any chord that requires more accidentals, and you know every secondary chord is going to have that almost always. The only time it doesn't happen is the 5 of 4. When you do that,
I was thinking D major. There is no sharp of D major. You know,
there's no D sharp, right?
Yeah,
However, remember, you are tonicizing an E minor chord.
Yeah.
So therefore, if it says 7 of E minor, the only answer could be D sharp.
You're right.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I mean, it takes a little while to get comfortable with, thinking, superimposing two different things like that on top of one another. But that's what's really going on.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is the thing that I caught on a couple of the examples. And one thing that I wanted to mention is you'll know you're right with an answer like this, and also on the test, if you have a consistent note going all the way across. Meaning, from example number 6, once that A flat was introduced, that A flat has to be there all the way across.
Okay.
In the one in D major, you added a B sharp. That B sharp has to be there all the way across. So as soon as you had a D natural, something was wrong on the chart. Okay, could you do mine next? Because, okay, let's see here. Oh, so I don't think there's any more chat questions. Is that correct? Because we did do Steve's. Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna keep this open too, but sometimes it's hard for me to see on all the screens. And then let's see here. Okay, we talked about that. Andrew, I know you're here. Yeah, I think the same thing happened here too. Maybe a little bit differently, but definitely the same here. See where my cursor is? Those all should have been D sharps. So several people did have a little bit of trouble with the leading tone. So leading tone means leading tone, half step. Even if it's a secondary, it's always a half step. Let's see here. Andriana, I did not get anything. No. No, I think you were good here. Yeah, no, yours was fine. No? Are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. I'm trying to talk. There we go.
That's okay. That's okay. I want to mention something that's just a little aside, okay? And that is, be careful that when you list a diminished chord, don't ever put that minus sign next to it, like a D minor diminished.
Okay.
Yeah, like this is correct. G sharp diminished, G sharp half diminished, G sharp fully diminished, but not D sharp minor with a diminished sign next to it.
All right.
Yeah, you don't want to mix those up, because what will end up happening is someone's reading a chart and they're going, what chord do they really want? You know, because that's a
Gotcha.
yeah, that's a mix. That's almost like a mixture of both. But as you can see, all your notes are absolutely correct. Every note in there is correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then Kim, I'll just look whenever that comes through. Trevor too. Gerardo, same kind of thing happened with Gerardo. I don't know if Gerardo's here today. Are you?
I'm here.
Okay, good. So do you see the same thing here happening? That if I'm doing the 7 of 2 in the key of E minor, I need to have it be a leading tone. So it needs to be D sharp.
Is that for number 13, right?
Well, it's this number 13 here. Yes. So that should be a D sharp diminished, D sharp half diminished, D sharp fully diminished.
Oh, okay.
Anything going to E minor has to be a half step below, and D sharp is a half step below, not D.
Okay, sounds good. I just thought that for some reason the half diminished would have been a whole step away instead of a half step away, and that's why I went with a D. Although by that logic, the fully diminished should have been a D sharp.
Yeah, that's right. No, if you're thinking leading tone, just make sure that the tonic of whatever that chord is always a half step below whatever you're trying to tonicize. If it's a leading tone.
Oh, okay. So, but if it was diatonic based, then the half diminished would be a whole step away from the tonic. Is that correct?
No. Half diminished is still a half step. Like when we're in the key of C, isn't the B half diminished the 7 chord of C?
Oh wow, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I've been doing it all wrong this whole time. Then
I think you might have that whole step thing for the 7th, the actual number of the chord. The 7th of a half diminished chord is a whole step below the tonic. That's a minor 7 interval.
Yeah, and I transfer that same thought to the
Roman
tonic.
Yeah,
the tonic of
you can't do that. No, because the Roman numeral, when it says 7, it is a leading tone.
Okay, that is great information.
Yeah. You know what it is, everybody? It's just we're getting used to the language of what we're speaking. We might be talking to each other about things, and then it might be that we're actually, thinking of different numbers. The problem with, and that's why they actually started using Roman numerals instead of using numbers underneath for doing analysis, because we're already putting so many numbers on chords already and other things. And so, but when we speak as a language, when we say the 7 chord, I should say the leading tone 7. If I'm going to do analysis, I should always say leading tone. And that's I'm trying to say that a little bit more often so that you guys hear that. And just equate leading tone with half step. That's it. That's what a leading tone is. Yeah. So any note could have a leading tone going to it. Any note, even F sharp, right? F sharp has an E sharp going to it as a leading tone. How about G sharp? It's going to be, what is it going to be?
A.
No, it's going to be F double sharp.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant 7 going to 1.
No, I'm talking about like if I name a note, you've got to be able to tell me what the leading tone is. It's a half step below.
Okay.
And it's always a letter before it. That's why to G sharp, I wouldn't say G natural. I would say F double sharp. How about C sharp, everybody? What's the leading tone of C sharp?
C double sharp? C sharp?
It's B sharp.
Oh no, B sharp.
Not D, B, right? I don't know if I'm hearing it correctly in the microphone, but B,
Yeah, B sharp.
boy sharp.
Boy sharp.
Right.
Boy.
B. Mm-hmm. What's the leading tone of G?
F sharp.
Mm-hmm.
F sharp.
F sharp. What's the leading tone of A?
G sharp. G sharp.
What's the leading tone of A sharp?
A.
No.
G sharp.
Oh.
No.
G. No. What would you say?
E double sharp.
F double sharp.
G double sharp.
Yeah. What's the deal with like A sharp, man? Like.
A sharp minor. There's an A sharp minor. It's the relative minor of C sharp major.
Yeah. I need to work on my sharp keys a bit more.
It's there. It's there. It exists.
Yeah, it's there. G sharp is also like for me, but.
So I think again, step method. If I say a letter, you just go down one letter from it.
Right.
So I said A. What do you have to have before it? G. So let's play this game. C. You guys are going to tell me the letter before the. We're just going to do the alphabet. We're going to be like so elementary here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to elementary school.
And I'm going to figure out how much of us have dyslexia. Because I'll say like C and someone will say D. I know it. Okay, so, all right. A.
G.
G, right. B.
A.
C.
B.
D.
C. B.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, like this just lets me know that I don't know my alphabet very well. Yeah.
Now, next. Here's the next. That's a major 7 chord, or D minor 7 chord. Okay, now the next.
Oh, do you have perfect pitch? It's like.
No, but I can hear a chord. Okay, so then, so anyway, the next thing is, now you're going to tell me a half step in music. So you've got to know your, if it's going to be a double sharp, if it's going to be a natural or whatever. Okay, so C sharp.
B sharp.
B sharp is correct. Yes. G flat.
A flat.
Be careful.
No.
F.
F. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. E flat.
D.
E.
D, correct. E major or E.
D sharp.
D sharp.
D sharp, right. Okay. Now, let me think of something that's okay. A flat.
G.
G.
E.
Right. Good. Now you're going to just turn them into leading tone chords. So let's say I said, and how about turning it into a fully diminished? Okay, even if it's a major chord. So I'm going to say I'm tonicizing C, and you're going to give me a secondary leading tone to that chord. What is it going to be?
Yeah.
It's going to be B diminished. It's going to be, the leading tone has to be a half step below. Okay. So do you guys mind if I do it like I would do it as if we were in a class? I mean, in a big class here, I'm going to ask each individual to give me a chord. And I know, Noah, you're on vocal, what do you call that again? Vocal rest, yes. So you can just chat it to me. But so Victor, I'm going to ask for a leading tone chord, and the chord that I name is a random chord, but it's a chord that I want to tonicize. And does everybody agree that when you do secondary dominants and secondary leading tones, that you are primarily tonicizing the chord you're going to? I mean, that's how you name it. It's the only way you can name it. Okay? All right. So my chord is F, Victor.
Do you want the leading tone secondary?
I want the leading tone that would go to an F, and it doesn't matter if it's major or minor because I'm asking you to make it fully diminished. Thankfully, I'm not going to ask you guys to give me every note in that chord.
Or E sharp diminished or E diminished. I don't know which one, but I know it's definitely E. Right?
You're right. So now you got to make a choice. I said F. I said F.
Would it be E sharp because it's a half step away from F natural?
No, because E sharp is the same as F.
Oh yeah. My bad. Because the piano, right?
Yes. So what is it?
It would just be regular E diminished.
Yes, E fully diminished, right. Now you guys hang on to your notes because I'm going to ask you to give me all the notes in that chord. Not yet. So Victor, you got to figure out what an E fully diminished is, okay? But I'll ask you later. Kim, my chord that I want to tonicize is G. What would be the leading tone of it?
F.
No, it's Kim's question.
Oh, yeah.
What's the answer?
F fully diminished.
No, it'd be F sharp fully diminished.
Oh.
Okay, so then you're going to have to give me all the notes in F sharp fully diminished. Okay, then Ian, my key is A flat.
A flat. Then you would need B. Yeah, just
No,
just
that's
B, right?
that's-
No, that's the other way. Oh my God. G. G fully diminished.
right. That's the leading tone. Correct.
See, I'm the one with dyslexia.
We all have it. Come on, humans have that. Okay, no.
Yeah.
Unless you're not human. Okay.
I used to write my notes backwards. Yeah.
We all do that. It's just the way
Yeah.
the brain works.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Oh, I got to give you a chord. A.
Yeah.
A.
G sharp, diminished.
Yes. Joanne, how about let me get no, I'm not going to do that. I was going to get hypothetical, but because I know that you're going to get the right answer. Anyway, how about C sharp?
C sharp.
Yeah, B sharp diminished, right? B sharp fully diminished. Okay, David, how about G flat?
F fully diminished.
Correct. Sammy, how about D?
C sharp full diminished.
Correct. Okay, Koki, how about E major?
E major. The diminished 7 of it, right?
What is it going to be? Leading?
Leading tone would be D sharp.
Yes. Yeah, D
Yeah.
sharp fully diminished, right.
Yeah.
D sharp. Okay, good. All right, now, Peter, how about, you're back to senpai. You weren't the
Hi, senpai.
your boss before. Okay, so then how about B flat?
B flat.
B flat, boy flat.
A
A what?
diminished.
A fully diminished, yes. Okay, yeah, I'm asking for fully diminished all the way across. And then Trevor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, and then Trevor, I'm going to ask for, I'm running out of chords for you guys. Let's just do a G minor.
G minor. That'd be F diminished. Oh, F sharp. F sharp.
Yes, F sharp diminished is correct. Good, good. And then Noah, you can do it by chat. And I noticed that Victor gave me a chat question, but I'll do it. I'll answer that right at the end. Okay. So Noah, you can do by chat. Give me the leading tone chord of B. And I'll look up on here and see if I see something coming up here. Noah, are you there? Okay. All right. All right. And then while you're thinking of it, yes, A sharp, and then make it a fully diminished too. Okay. So you're going to give me all the notes in A sharp fully diminished. So Amy, give me the leading tone of E flat.
E flat.
Yeah. E flat, like an elf.
The leading tone of E flat will be D.
Right. D fully diminished. Okay. Andy, you there?
Yes.
Okay. Give me the leading tone of F sharp.
That'll just be F, right? Or no.
No.
E double sharp?
Not double
Or no.
sharp.
Or E sharp, right?
E sharp fully diminished. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. And then Stephen, can you give me the of C sharp? C sharp minor, let's say. Let's say I'm trying to tonicize C sharp minor.
That'd be B sharp.
B sharp fully diminished. Correct. And then Gerardo, how about if I went to not B, but B. Man, I've given all the keys out so far. There's more people than there's keys for me to give out. How about D?
C sharp.
Correct. Okay, now, it doesn't matter that I'm tonicizing major or minor chord, does it? It doesn't. Because what matters is what kind of secondary leading chord you're trying to create. And I've told everybody to do a fully diminished chord. Now, some of you have got some pretty hard ones to do. There's some weird stuff going on there. Anyway, I want to hear from everybody and to tell me what all the notes are of their fully diminished chord. Okay, so Victor said, why is F sharp and D sharp fully diminished? Because D sharp, F sharp is a minor third. And you need a minor third in order to start your chord. D sharp to F natural is not a minor third. It's a diminished third. So what you can do, you can.
About how it's built, right? Mine.
Yeah, it's minor third upon minor third upon minor third. Yeah.
I was kind of like thinking it like, oh, you like, because last semester we were taught that like the third is flatted, and then you flat the fifth.
That's right.
And then that'll make it diminish. So that's what my process was going through. I was like, oh, okay, the third, you know, it's F sharp in the key. Might as well like naturalize it. But you just said not to, right?
Wait a minute. You said it's F sharp in the key. F sharp in the key.
Sharp?
What key? No, what key are you thinking?
I was thinking. Well, let me refer back to what we were doing because I can't. I need to.
Well, it was an E that I said was the tonic note that you want to go to.
An E?
E, yeah. That's why you said D sharp fully diminished. That's why your answer was D sharp fully diminished.
Oh, this was that question was from earlier. That was from this. That's what I was saying. That was from the homework. Yeah, that was from earlier.
Okay. I was just doing it. I was just doing on based on what I saw here. So I said, well, if you said D sharp diminished, then it had to be coming from E. What was the tonic? Because that's too far away for me to remember. What was the tonic I gave you?
Oh, you gave me F.
Okay, so F sharp.
No, F natural. My bad. F natural, and I have E diminished.
Okay, can you spell?
I have E, G, B, and then D.
What's going on with the B?
I just made it natural. I didn't flat anything.
No, because E natural to B natural is a perfect fifth.
I'd have to flat it because it's already natural in that key, and so if I were to flat it, it became minor, right?
It would be diminished.
Well, that's what I meant.
And then what did you say was what kind of D?
I just had it natural. I'm
That's
not
D flat.
And why is that? Is it just because in the key of D it's D sharp, right? And then
wait a minute, in the key of D?
In the key of E.
In the key of E, okay.
Yeah.
In the key of E, remember you got 4 sharps. So if you were going to start from 1, 3, 5, 7 in the key of E major, then that means you got a major third, a perfect fifth, and a major 7. So that means your diminished chord has to lower the third, and which you did from G sharp to G natural. You got to lower the fifth from B natural to B flat. And you got to lower the D sharp, which is a major 7, not only once, but twice, because it's a diminished 7. And that's what would make it D flat. Okay. So in a way, some of what we're doing now actually still goes way back to, knowing how to construct even our regular chords and stuff like that, or our sevenths and things like that. Okay. So I know this might be a kind of a slow process here, but in a way I like to kind of keep that quizzing kind of happening because it makes our musical
fluency.
Yeah, it makes our musical minds more fluent. That's exactly the word I was looking for. Kim, what was your chord? Did you have to spell?
I got F sharp fully diminished.
Okay, so go ahead and name those notes.
It's gonna be F sharp and then A, C, and E flat.
Correct, that is correct. Okay, Ian, what was your chord?
So my chord was G fully diminished, and the notes are G,
Okay.
B flat, D flat, and F flat.
That's correct. Okay, Joanne, what was your chord?
It was B sharp fully diminished.
Yes.
So it's B sharp, D sharp, F sharp, A.
Wait a minute. What was the chord again?
B sharp.
Oh, B sharp. Okay, I thought I heard E sharp. B sharp fully diminished because we must have been tonicizing C sharp. Okay, so say those notes again. Sorry.
B sharp, D sharp, F sharp, and A.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, David.
I think you gave me G flat, and I said it was F fully diminished, which is F, A flat, C flat, and E double flat.
That is correct. Sammy, what is your chord?
Yeah, you gave me D, so C sharp full diminished will be C sharp, E, G, B flat.
Correct. All right. And then a Cookie. What chord did I give you?
I think I don't remember actually. I remember saying something around E flat, but
E flat. Oh, was it E flat fully diminished? Ooh, that's going to be a rough. That's going to be a tough one.
E flat fully diminished. So
E flat fully diminished. Really?
Was it? Gee.
That's going to be tough.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know.
Give me E fully diminished.
E fully diminished. E, G, B flat, and then D.
D flat.
D flat. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's good though. That was pretty quick. But that's fully diminished, has the D flat in it.
Right.
Okay. All right, Peter. What chord did I give you?
B flat.
D flat fully diminished?
Oh, B flat, like boy.
Okay. Yeah, B flat fully diminished. Okay.
So it was A.
Wait a minute. What did
you gave me?
So your chord is A fully diminished.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's A, C, E flat, and G flat?
Yes, correct.
Cool.
No?
My chord is G sharp fully diminished.
Okay.
So that was G sharp, B, D, and F.
Right, that's correct. Trevor?
You gave me G minor, I think. Right?
I gave you G minor, and then you said F sharp fully diminished. I'm sure you did.
Yeah. Wait, would it be F sharp though?
Yeah, F sharp. Yeah, F sharp fully diminishes. Yeah.
I thought the key signature for G minor was B and E.
It is like B flat, but remember, if I say leading tone, I'm always saying a half step. So what you have to think of then is G harmonic minor. And that does have an F sharp in it.
Okay, that makes sense. So it would be F sharp, A, C, and then would it be E flat?
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
That's correct. Then Noah gave me his answer, and so A sharp fully diminished, A sharp, C sharp, E, G natural is correct. Okay, and then Amy, what chord did I give you?
You gave me E flat, so my chord is D.
Okay.
So it's gonna be D, F natural, A flat, and C flat.
Correct.
And
that is it. That's correct. Good.
So Fred, when it comes to like, is it all right to think about it relative to minor? I mean, relative to the major all the time, like the 1, 3, 5, 7, like always thinking it relative to that, or should I think like as long as you get to the chord, like it doesn't matter, sort of thing?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whatever can get you the correct answer, because right now fluency has to do with making sure that what you end up with is something you're sure about. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then eventually you find steps that work the best for how your mind works that gets you to the answer quickest and accurately, you see.
Right.
So,
okay.
And believe me, everybody has different kind of methodologies for doing it, because we do each think differently the way we process things. So, so that's why I'm usually not an advocate of just one over another. However, I always do tell everybody, what I like to do. So, that's what I like. And then someone else, another professor could, give you other suggestions, but I'm totally open to anything that someone can bring out too. If you find that you've found a different or a better or easier method for doing it. I think the thing that's made it the quickest and easiest for me is to actually have to play music in these keys and analyze it while I'm playing it. And also playing jazz has helped a lot because when you're
the
looking
arpeggios and everything, yeah.
Well, when you're looking at the chords, you're going, well, wait a minute, I'm already moving to this key to that key. If you're going to improvise over it, you already got these kind of relationships.
Right, the circle of fifths and all of that. So because like when I first learned diminished chords, the arpeggio felt like a 1 flat 3 flat 5 and a 6. Like it's an enharmonic note, and it feels like a 6, but functionally it's a double flat 7, right? Yes. And so at that part, like the embodied aspect of it was kind of like different from the functional aspect, and I think I still have a hard time understanding like that sort of thing, but I don't know.
I mean, though everything that you said was right, and the thing is, sometimes it's easier to think of a major 6 than it is a diminished 7.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that could actually be no problem in terms of playing it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But to actually
communicate it and functionally.
Yes, because that's what we're doing in music. That's what we're learning right now. Is we're learning how do we communicate with other students and musicians that are studying classical music and are using the same identifiers. How do we communicate with each other? So now, if you might be able to put a Roman numeral analysis together and give it to somebody whose language you can't even speak.
Yeah,
you guys can't even talk to each other in communicating. However, you could both look at the paper and understand what's going on because we're learning that language as a common language.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And it, as many problems as it may have, the fact that you're kind of on this route to learning how this whole classical thing works is kind of cool because then you can branch off from it, and kind of go into whatever kind of music that you like to play. So anyway, it's a very good foundation. That's why we still require the jazz musicians to take at least 2 semesters of classical.
The common practice.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Okay, so Stephen, can you give me your chord?
Yes. Just give me a second. So it was C sharp minor, so the sound would be B sharp, and the chord would be B sharp, D sharp, F sharp, and A flat.
Not A flat. A natural, isn't it?
If it's a full diminished, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, fully diminished. Wouldn't that have an A natural in it? From B sharp.
Yes.
It's A natural.
Right.
Yeah, it's A natural. Okay, good. Okay, Gerardo?
Mine was C sharp, fully diminished.
Okay, name me the notes.
So it would be C sharp, E natural, G natural, and B flat.
You got it. Great. Okay. Good, everybody. Awesome. Excellent. Okay. I know I usually don't do that where I ask each individual but I would do that. I would do that in class. You guys know that I did things like that in class too. It can be a little bit time consuming, but it at least tells me that you guys understand the concept of what? Leading tone. Leading tone is always a half step below. And then of course you have to make sure that you understand how to do a fully diminished and a half diminished if it were to come your way. Okay. So now, I think that answers most of the questions that might have been brought up by the last couple of assignments. And so I do want to introduce chapter 15, everybody, our last chapter. Can you believe it? I mean, we've been at this all this time and now we are literally at the end. This is the last stuff we're going to learn and then we're going to apply everything else. Now it's going to, after this point. So I'm going to pull up a share screen with my iPad. Okay, so there there's the subject matter right there. Modulation, and there's let's see, 8 different types of subjects themselves. And I'm getting something from a chat here. Let's see. What is that? You already know. You already know. You already know. Okay. What's that mean, Noah?
You already know.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Oh, you already know. Okay. So of these 8, yes, you already know we're about to do this. Yes, I got it. Now, of those 8 subjects that are up there, everybody, one of them we won't really use during our project, but everything else we will use. So here's our first subject, modulation. What is it? Well, you know, yeah, you can see what it says here. I mean, and it's pretty succinct, meaning it's pretty broken down and simplified. It is a shift of a tonal center. However, what is a tonal center, everybody? Because you got to basically understand that to know what a shift would be.
You're shifting. So what's the difference between like tonicization and modulation?
Okay, tonicization or tonicization is when you're making a chord in a key a new type of tonic, meaning if I'm in the key of C and I want to make a chord, make the E minor chord, the 3 chord sound stronger, then I'm going to tonicize the E minor. Okay? So what I'm doing is I'm staying in the key though. I am not leaving the key. That means I'm still introducing an accidental, but my intention is not to make your ear sound like I've moved to a new key. Okay? That's what the tonicizing does. Now, modulating means I'm taking an entire package of a key and I'm moving that key center from one place to another. That by the time I go to this new key, the chords that I'm playing in that key, the harmony that I'm using with the melodic content in it too, has all now shifted to a new key signature, even though I'm not going to use a new key signature. Because we don't do that. In classical music, when we modulate, we only use accidentals. We don't sit there and go, oh, okay, I'm going to put a new key signature here, and then I'm going to put another new key signature here. I mean, it's done, but it's not done in large groups of pieces. In pop music, you see it sometimes when someone makes a shift a half step up. That's not a common shift in classical music. And so in pop music, you know, who does that a lot? Barry Manilow. Every song he sings in one key and then he moves it up a half step.
Stevie, yeah.
And then it goes up another half step. That, you know, that's just a way of kind of creating a little bit more tension and lifting, you know, from where you started. But that's not the type of modulation we're talking about. We're talking about modulating from one key to another very closely related key in order to go from one place and another and sound really good moving between those keys. So this tonal center means if I'm playing a whole bunch of chords, regardless if I have secondary dominance or secondary leading tones, I can still say it's still in the key of C. Now, remember that prelude we did in Bach?
Yeah.
I think you guys remember. And we really didn't modulate. We did not go to another key, even though we introduced all these other chords that were not in the key of C.
So would you say like secondary dominants are a form of retonicization?
Secondary dominants are a form of mini modulation, let's say.
Mini modulation.
Yeah. It's like these really small excursions to make it seem like we're going somewhere else, but technically is not a move to another key.
Yeah, it's because it sounds like retonicization is like a form of like a modal change within the key rather than the shift of the key itself. I don't know.
I think more that it's just a way of coloring the basic part of the key itself, letting the ear hear other aspects of what could be there, And the way that the relationship remains intact is because it's secondary. When you tonicize something with a circle or a half step, your ear is going to naturally, accept the chord that you've given it. Now, but if I go ahead and start playing chords and they consistently start belonging to another key, then I'm not in my original key anymore. I'm not even doing secondaries. I am moving my center over. I'm moving it. Okay. So, and I'm going to give you an example of it. I'll play this little Mozart.
Oh yeah. Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you got to hear it. You got to hear it in order to understand it. But let's just say that modulation, as it is said right here, is a shift of a tonal center.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you move from one place to another. I'm in the key of C, and I've moved to the key of G. I'm in the key of G, and I move to the key of A minor. I'm in A minor for a while, and I come back to C. Those all would have been modulations. And you have to show how you got there and what the process was to get there.
Yeah.
So where we start, everybody, is by making sure that we don't do modulations in keys that are really far removed from one another. So the first place to start, and remember, we always do this on a conservative level, in that when I teach a subject, we have to teach it in the most basic form first. So we're not going to go to the most complex. We're going to go to the basic. That means you need to understand the concept of closely related keys. So what do you think is a closely related key to C?
A minor.
You bet. That's as close as you can get, because it's the relative minor and it shares the same key signature. However, in classical music, would you go from C major to A natural minor, which would share exactly the same chords? Would you do that?
I don't think it'd count as a modulation, would it?
It would not. You would have a really hard time trying to figure out if that was a modulation. That's another reason that the classical composers used harmonic minor, so that when you use the 5 chord and the 7 chord, you definitely knew you weren't in the key of C, the relative major. Right. It would be a little ambiguous to go from C major to A natural minor. You could do it, but it's not going to sound like classical music, okay?
Yeah, I think I have to go see a couple examples and hear them before I'm still not very.
All right. I mean,
clear on the idea of the retonicization between the difference with modulation.
All right. Well, and I'll show it too. That's my plan. So again, we know that the relative major and minor are going to be closely related keys. That's a given. Now, what we do to get the other closely related keys, everybody, is you just move. Let me see if I can move my sheet here. Look at this little chart here. You go to what's ever on the left or right of the circle, of the key circle, of the circle of fifths. So look at the bottom there, and can you see the key C major?
Right. Yeah.
So and I would have done it differently if I were Benward. I would have kind of shown it the way it actually looks on the key circle, which is C going to the right would be a G major, and C going to the left would be an F major. So if you go in the circle, you are only changing one accidental to get to it. That is a closely related key. So the major keys that are closely related to each other are ones that are next to each other in the key circle. And oftentimes I like to put whatever key I'm in as the middle one, as in terms of a relationship. It just kind of centers you. So I'm going to say C is the center. And if I go to the right in the key circle, it's going to be G major with 1 sharp. And if I go to the left, I'm going to go to F major and add 1 flat. Then every one of those relative minors are also going to be closely related too, because I can go from C to the key of E minor, which also has 1 sharp in it too. You see what I mean? And then I could also go to D minor, because that's the relative minor of F. David's got a very interested cat in the screen there. Yes, and what Noah said, he put a chat here to everybody. So modulating to the left or right of a major and including the relative minors is considered closely related keys. Yes. That's right. It's actually pretty easy.
think I'm thinking about it too hard. Yeah.
Well, yeah, don't think about it too hard, okay? Do not. So don't. So let's see if I did this here. I'm going to go back to my usual little spot. Check it out, everybody. I'm going to have you guys describe to me what would be closely related keys. And what does it always come to? The key circle. We're back to that circle of fifths again. All right.
Really get the circle of fifths.
I'm going to put F as my key. That's my key.
Okay.
All right, folks. What is to the right of F?
C major.
C major. What is to the left if I'm going in the key circle of F?
B flat major.
That's right. Okay. What's the relative minor of F?
Relative minor.
D minor.
D.
That's right. D minor. What is the relative minor of C?
A
minor.
What is the relative minor of B flat?
G minor.
You just got all 6 chords that are closely related to each other.
Oh, man, you guys are quick.
They are quick, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, let's make it harder then. Let's go further away. Let's see here. Why doesn't someone shout out a key?
C sharp.
C sharp? All right.
No, come on.
Let's do G.
Yeah, G.
C sharp becomes problematic because you run out of sharp keys to relate it to. So,
Okay, let's do G.
no, wait a minute. No, you said it, and I said it's okay. So
all right.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to make C sharp the most extreme right end. I'm going to go this direction and then this direction again, okay? So tell me, what is going backwards in the key circle from
A fourth?
Well, no, but what is the key before C sharp major?
Sharp.
F sharp major.
Yeah.
What is the key before F sharp major?
B.
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 Right. Those 3 keys are related to each other as a major key. Or as major keys. Now give me the relative minors.
A sharp minor.
Yep.
D sharp minor.
Yep. And
G sharp minor.
you're right. Those are 6 related keys, and we kept them in sharps.
Are parallel minors and majors like, are they kind of
They're
like
related. Well, they're related to each other, and they're very good devices for composition. However, I kind of don't want to get into them and use them as a resource for our chorale writing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Noah says, let's do E. Okay, let's do E major.
I like that one.
He must be a guitar player. Okay, so here we go. All right. Now, what's on the right of it? No problem going that direction. I think we already have.
E major.
What is it?
E major.
Yeah, see, we already did that. And then what is on the other side of E?
A major.
A major.
Yep. Now, relative minors of each.
B sharp minor.
D sharp.
For B? You guys just named
Minor.
G sharp.
it. G sharp minor. And then I heard it, F sharp.
Minor.
Yep. Those are all closely related keys to one another. So if you know your circles, or you know your relationships between them, and now, folks, give me the key signatures. What's the key signature of E major?
4 sharps.
4 sharps.
Yep. What's the key signature of B?
5.
5 sharps.
Yep. What's the key signature of A?
3 sharps.
All right. Now we know that that's also the same key signatures of the relative minors, except we're playing classical music. So you're not only going to use those key signatures, you're going to do what?
Raise the 7th, so it's
Correct.
leading tone.
Yes. So what is the 7th of C sharp? The note C sharp. What's the 7th?
B sharp.
B sharp.
B sharp. You're going to add a B sharp plus 4 sharps to that key. You understand?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's related, but you got to remember that you're going to use the harmonic key signature, or the harmonic minor, in order for that to be correctly used. So what is the leading tone of G sharp minor?
A. No.
A.
F double
That's
sharp.
upwards.
F double sharp is correct.
Man,
That's
I can
the
only.
seventh. That's the seventh of G sharp harmonic minor. Correct. That means that chord's going to have an F sharp fully diminished, F sharp, F double sharp fully diminished 7 in it. Yow. Okay. Now, what's the seventh of F sharp harmonic minor?
E sharp.
What is that?
E sharp.
E sharp is correct. See all those steps, everybody?
A cat. Yeah.
The cat loves it. You want to know.
Sorry about the cat.
It's okay. You want to know.
The cats are out here anyway. It's like
kind of funny to watch. So anyway, everybody, you need to know all those elements when you're going to closely related keys, because those are the things you might be looking for. So when I give you your first assignment today, though, you're gonna be okay with it, because all I'm going to ask you for is, excuse me, is closely related keys. That's the only question I'll be giving you today. Is what's the closely related key to A, or what's the closely related key to B? It'll be pretty simple for you. Now, we're going to look at something of Mozart's, and Mozart is in the key of D. So what are the possible major key signatures he might modulate to?
E and A.
Here's A, yes. And then what's the other one on the other side of it? G, correct. So those are possibilities for major key signatures. Okay, and then how about minors?
B minor.
B minor.
B minor for my original key.
F sharp minor.
F sharp minor, great. And what's the relative minor G?
E minor.
What is it?
E minor.
E minor is correct, yes. Okay, so let's see what Mozart decides to do. We're not gonna analyze this whole piece, because that would take too long. But at least what we're going to see is we're going to see an example of how a classical composition needs to be shown in Roman numeral analysis to be moving from one tonal center to another. Up until now, we did that entire Bach prelude in the key of C. Everything. We said that, yes, it had chords in there that were emphasizing others and had accidentals, but the primary tonality stayed in C throughout. When I ended the piece, man, it sounded like it was still in the same key.
Right, right.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a little bit of something that should sound like it's shifting. And what has to happen is by the time you get to the end, you should feel like whatever chord you ended on is actually 1. Okay? So I'm going to pull up finale here.
Oh, that's why. Okay, thank you.
Let me get my finale screen going here. All right. I'm going to see if you guys can see it and hear it. You should be able to. You guys see that screen?
Sonata in D.
Yes, so you can see it. Okay, good. And how much of the screen do you see? Do you see a lot of it, or is it pretty small?
It's just your screen, the Apple.
Oh, it's my whole screen.
It's the whole screen, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, let me see if I can zoom it to make it a little bit bigger.
Or a full page view, if you can do the page view style, maybe. I don't know.
I just got a little bit bigger. The problem is you're also seeing all my other stuff too, right? You're seeing all that stuff.
And the other windows and the yeah.
Yeah, I'll just move it a little bit. So let me see if I can kind of move this around. So you should be able to see all of it right there. I'm gonna get rid of the rest. Now, everybody, we are going to go back because this is in the book. This is in the book, but I think I'd rather play it for you first. Then we'll look at the analysis, and then we'll come back. But just listen to this. It's very simple actually. Mozart in sometimes is so simple in his design and how he puts everything. So here we go. Oh, it's not loud.
866.
I got to pull it up.
98. 7339.
I got to change some parameters here. I'm going to change some parameters. I'm going to need the base velocity to go way up. Max it out.
What is base velocity?
That's a MIDI thing that says how hard you're hitting it, and 127 is as hard as you can make any note.
How hard you hitting?
Yeah.
Like keyboard stuff? Oh, like
yeah. That's
that's not. It's not working in the system for some reason. I give you the social security number.
Whoa, what's that?
That's
0426747.
Trevor? I don't know. Yeah,
No, that's not me.
It's not me.
Yeah, I don't know. So is that?
No, it's not Gerardo. It's not Gerardo. Let's see. Is someone Zoom bombing us?
It's like social security number. It's like, huh? Like
I didn't hear that. Did you hear that? Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That.
Yep.
Important information.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What was that all about? Oh. Yeah, Joanne, we don't want to hear it. We don't want that information.
Do not identify yourself in this country.
Yeah. The page you guys are asking for, it's 316 on page, or rather page 316 in the textbook. There's an analysis of it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, right, Noah. Come on now. Here we go. Let me go ahead and play that piece one more time. Okay, here we go.
It's Animal Crossing.
Well, hopefully I had some of you guys listening while you guys were participating in that chat. Anyway, the idea is that when I land on that A chord, it should sound like 1, did it?
Can I hear it again?
Sure.
I think I was distracted. Yeah.
When I have to put it up at 127, the darn thing starts to sound like a harpsichord, but. All right. So the question is, does that A sound like a 5 chord, or does it sound like you are actually tonicizing the actual key of A?
It doesn't sound like a 5-1 at all.
It does not. No, it doesn't. Now, do you notice something about the accidentals that you're looking at?
I mean, a G sharp and an E sharp are being introduced.
Oh, E sharp. There's no E sharps anywhere.
I'm a G sharp. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So just G sharp, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happens if you have a D sharp, a D key signature, F and C, and you add a G sharp to it?
No. E? No.
I have an F and a C, and I'm
You've
adding
gone
G
to an A major.
Yeah, I'm making it sound like it's in the key of A, because I'm making all the G's G sharp. If I make all the G's G sharp, I am not in D major anymore. I'm not. Therefore, the tonality is shifted. It's shifted from a key of D to the key of A. So let me see if I grab my guitar.
So is that just a leading tone thing?
No.
It's
not entirely a leading tone thing. It's a shift in where you've gone from one place to another. So if I'm playing D major, that's my first chord. B minor. Then I'm going to E minor in first inversion. A7, D major, E minor, and then when I do this, that's just an A chord. So if I was going like this, D, B minor, E, A7, D, E minor 7, and A. All right. Does it still sound like I'm in the key of D? Yeah, I'm in D. No, but the A sounds like a 5 chord there. It sounds like a question. It's a half D.
Yeah.
Right? Ba ba be. Dee 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 da dee da dee da dee da dee da. That's going to be a G chord. E minor. Dee da dee da dee dee. So, okay, but now listen what happens. Then it goes da da dee dee da 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 da. That's a B A G sharp. Then da dee da dee doo da dee da da. And I'm landing on an A chord. So what did that G sharp do? That G sharp started to put me and shift me to a new tonality. Because now I'm doing new chords. I'm not doing chords that belong to the key of D. I'm starting to introduce chords that belong to a different key. It's subtle, everybody. It's really subtle. But my chords are starting D. I'm using jazz chords to make it sound more hip. B minor.
It is pretty hip, yeah.
Typical chords. B minor 7, E minor 7, A7, D major 7, E minor 7. That's a 2 to a 5. It uses a sus. Okay. Then I go to a D with the first inversion, then B minor, and then E dominant 7. And I stay on that chord, then A, D, A, E major, A. Okay? So if I play each chord, D, B minor, E minor, A7, D, E minor, and A sus. Then I go to a D, B minor, E7. Hear that? That's my shift, everybody. Because an E7 does not belong in the key of D.
Does the dominant 7 matter in that sense, or?
The dominant 7 strengthens it.
Okay.
Oh, it does, definitely. Because if I'm headed to A major, you bet I'm going to use an E sub, dominant 7. And in this case, he doesn't use a G sharp half diminish. He doesn't need to. But and then when that E7 is there, he goes B, D minor, and then 1 6 4 is an A major.
Yeah, the turnaround. Yeah.
And then E, then A. You know, so I'm home. I'm in a new key. I am in a new key. Those aren't secondary dominants. Why? Because of the persistence of the G sharps. If I would have just done one G sharp in there to do a 5 of 5, I could have gotten away with maybe getting back to D major, but that's not what his intention was.
Oh, okay. So since the G sharp is consistent, that way we can tell that it's a
that's how you know
modulation.
Well, that's how you know you've got a shift. You've got a shift because it's persistent. It's not just there temporarily. Secondary movement is temporary movement. Modulation is more permanent, or is longer lasting. So now I'm going to take the piece again and go back into the iPad so I can show you what Benward has kind of described. But I hope you guys can hear that clearly, right? Could you hear it when I was sharing it, at least? Could you hear it?
Yeah, everyone, you have a fan club going on right now.
I got a what?
A fan club going on.
A fan club?
Yeah.
How so?
You have a party in the chat, yeah.
Oh, I do have a party going on here, it looks like. Let's see. Man, the chat must be going bananas, and I can't find it anymore. You guys hid the chat from me. I can't see it. Someone's got a chat so I can find the thing. Where'd it go? I think I got it hidden behind oh, there it is. Okay, thanks, you guys. All right, here we go. Okay, let's see here. Straight A slaps, straight classical fire. Someone called it. Oh, yeah. Awesome. That means that you guys understand it. That must mean, okay, we got it, right? I hope.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's good.
I think I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
good.
It's still subtle though. Like,
well, of course it's subtle. That's what classical music's all about. Is to not give it to you like, here, folks, we're in this key. They go, hey, I think I'm just gonna move around here, and all of a sudden make you think you're here, and it's not. I'm not there anymore. All right, what's going on? Hey, why will you not let me get to my stuff here? Come on. Hey, that's kind of weird that it's doing that. Okay, maybe I gotta change the orientation. I need to get up here. Okay, get rid of that. Come on, give me my stuff. Give me my stuff. Don't do that, because if you do, I can't turn the pages. My iPad is malfunctioning. Okay, so here we go.
I am iPad.
There we go. I got it. Sorry, guys. Okay, so what page is that? 316? Yes. Here we go. Can you guys see that? Is it showing in your screen?
I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Because I have so many screens up here. I'm keeping the chat open so I know how much you guys are enjoying this. Okay.
I can see it. It's clear.
Is it? Okay. Now I need to get to it. I've got so many screens going on here. Okay. So do you see the analysis that Benward has provided for us? This is really interesting, everybody. He's saying his first analysis as this. He goes, okay, yeah, D major arpeggio right here. That's a D major for sure. And that's a B minor in root position. This is an E minor in second inversion because and all I'm looking at is the bass part. I'm looking primarily at the bass part, which happens to be in treble clef. So be careful, it might look confusing. And then it's an A dominant 7 because there's a G in it, G natural in there. And then back to D, tonic, an E minor in first inversion, correctly labeled, and then a 164 D chord with a in the bass, and then finally a 5 chord. You guys would probably analyze that exactly that way because there's no key change or anything like that. Now, the next set of chords, D major, yes, B minor, yes, E dominant 7. Remember, pop chord symbols come first. So it's like the chord is an E7. There's no doubt about it. I can't deny that or change that. My next chord is A. My next chord's B minor. My next chord's an implied A because it's a second inversion. E7 back to A. So those are all the chords, everybody. You can't deny that the chords are that. Now, the problem comes in when a new chord is introduced and you don't think of it as being secondary, meaning E7 in the last week could have been identified as the 5 of 5. Does everybody get that?
So
if I was in the key of D, and I stayed in the key of D, and I momentarily put an E7 in the midst of that chord progression, but that was the only time I did it. I just stuck it in there once. Then I would call that a secondary dominant. And I would say that E7 is the 5 of A, and A in my key in the D key that I'm in is a 5. So it's a 5, 7, a 5.
Right.
However, if that E7 persists and it keeps going and keeps going, then I've got to consider that I'm actually making a tonal shift, a modulation. And if that's the case, then I have new parameters for how I have to write it.
To the key signature of E7, yeah.
Well, it's the key signature of A. However, notice I'm not sticking that key signature in there. I'm using accidentals.
Yeah.
You have to use accidentals to do it. So when we get to this point right here, right there, A sounds like our tonal center. A major, the key of A major. So I've shifted from what sounded like this to this. I'm going to stick the A, that G sharp now is an important part of my key. So that means that I've modulated. Now look how he has to analyze it. Check this analysis out. In the beginning, no problem. We just do the chords the way that we got them. Look at that. Correct analysis, all good. All of a sudden, I go here and look what I did right there. See that? See what Benward puts there? He says, we're going to the key of A. And he goes, I don't think that B minor is a 6 chord anymore. I think it's the 2 chord of the new key I'm going into. And then he stays there. He goes,
how would he know that if there's no accidental there? Why would he pick that B instead of
yeah, I will explain that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
It is a good question. So when I'm looking at a piece of music or I'm analyzing it, and the way that you have to do it in classical music is you've got to determine at what point does the tonal center shift if it's modulating, okay? So I'm going to say it's going to be at the point when the accidentals occurred that aren't in my key. So what measure do I start to see G sharps? Measure 6. Measure 6, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then I'm going to say that to me is a signal of an actual modulation. It's,
I guess.
It is. I mean, once the G sharp is introduced, you guys, and it stays there, I'm no longer in the key of D.
Is there a difference between the tonic and, say, like the key center? Like,
yeah, no, key center and tonic go with each other. If I say my tonal center is shifted, then I've got a new tonic.
Tonic, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've got a new tonic. I'm not in the original key anymore.
I guess I'm still trying to think about it like relative to the first key that's introduced, yeah.
Well, there is a relationship. I mean, if I'm going from D to A major, I'm just adding a G sharp. That's a pretty easy thing to add. It's a pretty, how should I say, subtle note to add. What if I would have gone into F sharp major or something like that? You're going to know it. That would have been abrupt. That would have been very abrupt.
Like giant steps is like weird, you know, like
giant steps is Coltrane is he's trying to play around with our ears when he's doing that one. That's why it's such a big deal. That's why it's so significant as a jazz piece of music and having to learn how to think about it. That would be the complete opposite of what we want to do here. We're looking for very simple connections and not complex.
I guess I'm just trying to.
So what I want to establish is this. The question was, how do we know that B minor is the 6 chord in one key and the 2 chord in another key? There's nothing there that tells us that. You are absolutely right. What we have to do when we're doing modulation is to look to see when it happens and then to look just prior to it. Just prior to it. Because by the time E7 rolls along, everybody, it's happening, right? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then what I do is I go, well, then let me look and see why that transition seems so smooth. And you look to see the chord that precedes the, what I'm going to call the modulatory chord. And it's called a pivot chord. It's called a chord in which if I can use the same common chords from one key to the next, and I can actually call them 2 different things, then that's the pivot that made me move. That's what I used to pivot from one key to another. So is B minor in the key of D?
Yeah.
It's the 6 chord, right?
Yeah.
Then, is there a B minor in the key of E? I mean, the key of A, pardon me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course there is. Okay, now, you know, common keys share a lot of chords, oftentimes as much as 4 chords. Now, if I go to B minor, if I look at all the chords that follow it, and then it can remain in the key of A, then B minor is my best solution for being a pivot because it came right before the G sharp came in. So then in this analysis, Benward's saying, okay, I agree. B minor is the 6th chord of D, but I also want you to know that I think that I'm modulating to the key of A. And if I'm modulating in the key of A, I'm using B minor as a way to get in.
Fred, could you repeat the definition of a pivot chord again?
Yes, a pivot chord is a chord that is common to both keys. It's a chord, and it also needs this. It needs to be related to both keys, and it comes right before the actual modulation takes place.
Do they both have to be in?
Yes, they both have
inversion?
to. Oh no, it doesn't matter if it's an inversion. That doesn't matter. What matters is that they are in both keys that you're working with. Because you can't have a pivot chord if it doesn't belong in one key or the other.
So I guess the point of like this sort of modulation is making it smoother to transition between chords instead of making it abrupt. Yeah, because I wanted to ask the question like, well, would there be like an unsmooth way to make it functional in this aspect? You know?
Yeah,
like,
there is. You bet. Yeah, you can choose that. Again, the composers, because of the time period that they were dealing with composition, their goal was to make things still artistically, you know, they could move around, but they did it in such a way that they smoothly went from one place to another.
Right, because the pivot chord's it's like a fifth going on there. Like if it was like a major third or something, it'd be kind of weird, right?
Well, you see that it's still a circle?
Yeah, there's still a circle thing going on.
Well, it's a 2/5. You're using.
You're right.
You're using a 2/5.
You're right.
You're using a 2/5 to get to the next key.
You're right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So then what's happening is this A key, the reason I'm listing the B minor in both keys is it's my pivot chords. I can say this is the point at which it was ambiguous. I don't even know that I'm going to A major yet. I might still be in D major.
I guess it's like a yellow-red gradient and you're getting the orange, you know?
Yeah, it's moving me from one color to the next. I'm going from one place to another. But that's the way that you have to display it. Look what it says. It's got two names right there. It's saying B minor is the 6th chord of D, and then it goes down below and goes, but I think I'm going to the key of A. And if I am going to the key of A, I consider my B minor to be the 2 chord now. It's still a B minor, and it's still
because of the E7, right?
Yes, and then what's my next chord? It's a 5/7. How am I going to name that in the key of D? The only way I could name that E7 in the key of D is to say it's a secondary dominant. There's no other solution for me to call it key based. It's, you know, so since E and G sharp, look at the melody there. It's all over. It's you know, coming back. That ends up being in the key of A major, and so I start a whole new set of Roman numerals in the key of A. And at that point, this analysis says I'm in the key of D and I modulated to the key of A via a pivot chord. And when you use a pivot chord, everybody, it's called a common chord modulation. You're using a modulation that is using the same chord in both keys as a pivot. You know what I think would be interesting for you guys is what would this sound like if I stayed in D major? It's going to be weird because the E7 is going to be an E minor 7. The chords are going to sound really weird. I wouldn't be able to do it. The melody is going to go like this. It starts. Then. Now, what if I use G naturals? I'm going to start on measure 5. Did you hear it right there? It sounds kind of weird. It wouldn't even work because his melody is shaped in order for him to be able to get to that A major key. It would sound kind of weird.
I don't know. Sounds okay to me.
It's more modal. It's more modal. It sounds weird to me because I know what the thing is supposed to sound like. So then my chords would be this. And then here's an E minor. G. So it sounds like a question mark when you end on the A. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Then it would be a D major, B minor, E minor 7. It sounds cool. Then it would be G major, Then it's A, B minor, A, E minor, A. It would sound like a question. Now in the key of in the key of A major, it's D, B minor, E7, E7, A, B minor, A. Now it sounds like I'm in the key of A. Can you hear that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very different vibe, and all we did was we changed one note. One note.
You see what's going on in the chat, Fred?
No, I don't. What is going on? Oh man, let's see here. Wait, would you say that again? What's the definition of a pivot chord? So say, for example, that we're modulating from the key of E to the key of A. We would do something like this. B, D major, B minor, 7 to A. The D major 7 would be the pivot chord. You said you're going from the key of E to A? Okay, I see what you're saying. Usually we use the a 5 chord in there to make more sense. You see that D major 7, Noah? Yeah, that's right. There's no D major 7 in the key of B, in key of E. So, okay, whoops, that's a B minor 7 in the key of E. All right. Okay, so it's B minor 7. It would not be a D major 7. That's not in the key of E, okay? Wait a minute. In the key of A, no flat 7? Wait a minute. What? I don't understand the question. The chord.
I think he's saying that the D is the flat 7 of the E major scale.
Yeah, we're not going to use flat 7.
Chord, yeah,
we're not going to do that because then we can't talk about key center movement, because if you use a flat 7, you're doing a mixolydian kind of a key.
Mixolydian.
You know, it would be. Do you understand that? That there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, I'm going to try to understand what Noah just put up there. B minor 7. No, B7 would be the right chord because it would be a dominant 7 in the key of E. What are the chords in the key of E, everybody? E is 1. What is 2?
F sharp.
F sharp minor. What is 3?
G sharp minor.
G sharp minor. What is 4?
A.
A. What is 5?
B major.
B major, or B dominant 7 if we add a 7 to it. What is 6?
C sharp.
C sharp minor. What is 7?
7 would be
D sharp.
Half
diminished.
Sharp, half diminished. Okay, so I'm going to modify this just a little bit here, Noah. Okay, so that I can possibly put a chord progression that will work from the key of E to A, and then I can have a pivot chord. Okay, you okay with that? Okay, what's the 2 chord of A? It's B minor, right? I know that's you were trying to get that. A 2 and then a 5 would be an E to an A. Okay, so we're going to use a pivot chord, because as soon as I put a B minor in the key of A, I have eliminated that D sharp. Everybody understand that? Difference between B and B minor is the D sharp.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to put a chord in front of B minor that will allow us to have a pivot chord between the key of E and A. Let's talk about what are common chords between the key of E and A. Is E a common chord between the key of E and A?
I think so, because they both have the G sharp, right?
It is. It is a common chord, except don't put a 7 on it.
Don't put a 7 on it.
Right, because if you do an E chord in the key of E major, you're going to have an E major 7. If you do have an E chord in the key of A, it's going to be an E dominant 7. One has D sharp and one doesn't.
Yeah.
So, but you can use the triad. That's common. Okay. Now, are there F sharps in both keys? F sharp minor.
Yes.
Yes. Are there G sharp minors in both keys?
I think so.
No, there's not. In the key
Wait.
A G sharp
diminish?
Yes. So G sharp minor is not a common chord between the 2 keys. Okay, what's the 4 chord of A? I mean of E, pardon me.
A.
A, right. So that's common. The 4 chord of E and the 1 chord of A is a common chord. Okay. How about the 5 chord of E? Isn't that B major?
5 chord of E? Yeah,
Yeah.
B major.
Okay, there is no B major in the key of A rather. It's B minor.
Yeah, because the D sharp doesn't exist. Yeah.
Right. Now, what is the sixth chord of E?
E, C sharp.
Yep, C sharp minor. Is there a C sharp minor in the key of A?
I think.
There is.
Yeah.
It's the 3 chord.
It is the 3 chord, yes.
Yeah. So that means maybe I can use a C sharp minor and use that right before I go into B minor. And what the pivot chord will be the C sharp minor.
So that's that like minor 6 thing going on.
Yeah. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go. I know that no one now realizes he opened a can of worms, but that's okay.
Wormy.
Well, because any question is going to create more questions. So, and that's what we're doing. We're doing theory, right? So
yeah.
Here we go. All right. I'm going to do a chord progression. E. Let's do a 1, 6, right? 2, 5. What's 2, you guys? F sharp minor. 2, 5. You got that? You see that? Cool, everybody?
Cool.
Cool. Okay. Now I'm going to continue. E, C sharp minor. Now, my intention now is to go into A. So I'm going to stick a chord that's not in the key of E major. And right at this point here, I'm just going to stick with chords that are in the key of A.
So there's like a turnaround thing going on there.
A little bit. I'm still trying to use a little bit what Noah had suggested. So now I'm going to say, yeah, I'm still 1 right there. But the chord that's really the one in question is this one right here, because that's not common to any of them.
Right.
Only in the key of A. And E7 is only in the key of A. I'm not going to do an E dominant 7 in the key of E, because then that would mean I'm eliminating the D sharp. Okay, so now I'm going to go, because the question was, what would be a pivot? I'm going to make this the pivot. What is this chord in the key of E? It's 6, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a 6, yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to say that's my pivot chord.
Can you use any scale degree as a pivot chord?
Yeah, but you got to make sure it's common. And there's only about 3 or 4 common chords.
And do they usually land on like certain chord tones?
They land on certain numbers, yes. Well, that will just, I don't want to go over those right now because then we're going to go into a whole.
Sorry. Yeah. It's like...
I just kind of want to just do this. Now, see, then I'm going to be doing this. Look. At this point, I'm saying I went from the key of E and that I modulated to the key of A major using C sharp minor as a pivot.
Yeah, because it's common.
Right, that's a pivot chord, right?
Yeah, okay.
And it precedes by 1 chord, the chord that actually creates the modulation. The B minor is when things start changing. No more D sharps. I got rid of a D sharp in this key chord, and I got rid of the D sharp here. They're D naturals. Hopefully that wasn't too... We were doing really good when everybody was... Okay, Noah sees it. Okay, awesome, great. Okay, good.
So you would see, if the score was written out, you would see the natural signs would be on the score when it...
Yeah, you're looking at accidentals. You're just scanning for accidentals, yes. Mm-hmm. But I think for today, let's just make sure, because we've learned 3 things from the, possibly even 4, from the first page. And that is, here we go, page, I think it's this one. We learned this, check this out. Modulation, closely related keys, pivot chord, and common chord. We talked about all those things. And actually, what we just did was a common chord modulation. Not bad for a first day of introducing the chapter to get into 5 elements out of 8. But again, I will back up and not give you a homework assignment that's going to be too hard. I'm going to do a homework assignment that's related to this.
Finding common chords.
Yes, and that's it. That's all I'm going to ask you to do. So can you take a look at page
325?
That's, I think it's it. Yep, 325.
Noel's got it.
You got it. All right. Now, take a look at the top. It's 15.1. I don't believe I've got that in my iPad. Sorry about that. But can everybody see 15.1? Are you guys in your textbooks or up in that region? Good?
Got it.
Okay. I'm gonna open up my staff paper.
What page is it again?
Page
325. 325.
Yeah, 325. Okay, so what that's going to ask you is, it's going to give you a key, and then you've got to give all the closely related keys. And you don't have to follow their model. You just have to know what the common 6 might be. My suggestion is just make whatever key you see, try to make it, put it in the center somehow. So see that they gave you as an example the key of G. So I would do this. I'd say, all right, G is my central key. And then what keys can I go to going forward? Isn't it D and C? Right, based on what we learned? And
Right.
then what's the relative minor? E minor, B minor, A minor. Right?
Mm-hmm.
See his answers? That's exactly what he put. I don't like that lowercase stuff for minors. It is easy, Noah. It is.
Can you explain it one more time, just in case?
Okay, so whatever key is given by Benward, you want to make it the center chord that you're dealing with. And that's why I put G in the center.
And then it branches out to C.
Right, then I went forward in the key circle. I went backwards in the key circle.
Okay.
And then I just did the relative minors. And then I've got all my closely related keys.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so let's do number 2. Just now, of course, he starts us off in a minor key. Okay, fair enough. All right. F minor, I think it is, right? Yeah, F minor. So F minor, I'm going to put down here. What is the relative major of F minor?
D.
A flat.
Or
A flat major is correct.
A flat major.
Yes. Okay, now majors are pretty simple, I think. What would happen if you went forward in the key circle? Remember, A flat's way down here in the key circle. So I got to move up. What's the next key that has less flats? A flat has 4 flats. What has 3?
E flat.
E flat, right. Now, A flat has 4 flats. What has 5?
D flat.
Yep, D flat, right. Okay. Now, you already have the relative minor, F minor. You've already been given that. And now you've got all 3 majors. You see that? Now just do the relative minors. What's the relative minor of E flat?
C minor.
Mm-hmm. What's the relative minor of D flat?
B
B
flat,
flat
minor.
minor.
You got all your answers. And the dog agrees.
Yep, Natsu agrees.
That's all that homework assignment is find the closely related keys to whatever chord Benward gives you first. And again, I would put whatever chord he gives me as the center. So then I can go on either end of it.
Okay, yeah, being conscious of the circle of fits makes it
totally,
easier.
It's totally that.
Yeah, I really got to get that tattoo soon.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hey man, for a musician, that wouldn't be a bad tattoo to have.
right? That's what I thought too. It'd be so cool.
Did I tell you guys? I don't know if I told you this story. I always tell my guitar class because it happened in a guitar class. I was doing my music guitar theory test, and during the test, I had a guy, man, constantly looking inside his guitar because I always have.
Oh no! Did he?
I call them open guitar tests, instead of open book.
Oh my God, he did it!
I said I want you guys to use your guitars, this because this is a guitar class, and that's primarily it. I use them. So anyway, they're doing the test, and I'm going, God, this guy sure is looking inside his guitar a lot, And it wasn't long before I just went, well, I'm pretty certain I know what's going on. So I went, hey, what do you got in there? And I look, and he had the circle, right? But he had it so it looked like the label of his guitar.
Oh, wow.
And I went, okay, all right. I said, now, wow. I said, I didn't say criminal, but I said that, people who.
Criminal.
I know, but what I meant was folks who figure out different ways of doing things. Some folks are pretty good at knowing what might be an easier route to do and cheat, So anyway,
right.
So it takes a pretty clever person to actually do the circle and make it look like the label of a guitar.
Yeah, it's pretty creative. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And then I said, you take that energy you just put into doing that and you actually put it in your head or something else like that, you'd be surprised how much you'd get.
I mean, there's a lot of shifting going on there. Yeah.
We talked about it. He said, you know what? You got me on that one. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to mess with you. I'm not going to report you or say that, you cheated or anything. I'm just pointing out that the energy that you put into how creative you were actually tells you how much you can think, So anyway,
you're a good person, Fred. You're a good person.
No, but the thing is, I wanted to point that out to him. I said, in some instances, that could be a turning point for someone's life, in terms of how they view things. And he said, well, I have to admit that I was so afraid of getting a bad grade that I did that to assure that I wouldn't get a bad grade. I said, okay, I understand that because, sometimes the pressure is so strong to make it,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And so anyway, we had a laugh about it really. And then you know what? He did great for the whole rest of the semester. And he said, I'm kind of glad that you called me out on it because then I just realized I actually can do this stuff in my head. So, but isn't that interesting,
Yeah.
And you guys, I don't know if you know this, but we haven't been there for a while, but room 221, there's a stand floating around in there somewhere that's got a whole circle of fifths on it.
Yeah.
It's still there. That thing's floating around somewhere over there. It's there. And we've never removed it because we just, I think it's kind of funny actually,
Yeah, so I'll get a major circle of fifths and then the minor, it's like.
It was all there. He had it because the label looked like the sound hole itself. And so it was designed. I mean, this thing was artfully done. Amazing.
Jealous.
Yeah. That was pretty
my uncle was a music teacher and he went to the University of Indiana through their program.
Well, that's a great music school.
Yeah, he was one of the best. He went to play with the Denver Philharmonic Symphony. But anyway, there's a University of Indiana music stand in that room, I think. I've seen one there.
At Grossmont?
Yes. It's got.
Oh yeah. I heard it's like a stereotype that people just steal music stands.
Oh well, I was on a gig once, and you know how musicians we play with.
This is from high school.
And musicians, we play with other groups. You pick up band, right? So I'm there, and the client told us before we did the gig, they said, "Don't shake hands on stage," and we said, "What?" And she said,
COVID.
We don't. No, this is.
I know.
Like 25 years ago, and so all of us on stage, we kind of know each other, but we've never played together as a band. And the agent knew that because she was hiring all these different people. Anyway, so she said, because we don't want the client to think that this is the first time you've ever played together. We don't want to kind of show them that, and as musicians, we said, Yeah, well, we know we can do whatever we want, you know, just sitting there like that we can do that. Okay, now I forgot my train of thought. Why did I say that we couldn't shake hands? It was because we didn't want to show that. What was going on? Why? So anyway, so while we're doing the gig, I'm looking, and over on the very right, the sax player, I'm looking and I'm going, hey, that stand says Grossmont College.
Of course it's a saxophone player.
And of course it was. And I looked and I went,
don't ever trust saxophone
I
players.
don't know this guy. You know, at least I know you didn't go to Grossmont, you know.
I don't trust saxophone players.
And then I asked him, I said, hey, where did you get this music stand? He said, oh, my friend gave it to me.
Amazing.
He says, you know anybody at Grossmont College? I said, yeah.
Yeah.
I know somebody at Grossmont College. So anyway, yeah.
Hey, before you continue, I ain't gonna lie, but I got one from Southwestern right in my room too.
Yeah, well, we know that. We know that kind of stuff happens. It does. All those, you know, I gave out all those capos. You know, when I give them out in my guitar classes, I had 75 capos at the beginning of the semester. I bought them all. Guess how many I have now? Before we went to COVID lockdown, I only have 10 left.
Amazing. Amazing.
You know, it happens. It happens. So when I bought them, I knew that the possibility existed that some of these were never going to come back. I didn't think that almost all of them would not come back, but you know,
you should make it a requirement for the class to bring capos.
Well, I actually do that now, but in fact, I guess I won't even have to worry about it now.
Yeah, everyone has a capo now. It's good. It's good.
I can't even give one away. I can't give it out. So anyway, I'm going to have this as a homework assignment, page 325, and that will be your homework, because I think that you got a pretty big assignment to get done for me on Wednesday, right? Isn't it the test? Yeah, the test is due then. Yeah.
Be able to attend class.
Anybody have any questions about the test? Oh my gosh, it's 12:55. Are you kidding me? Too much talking. Anybody have any questions about?
I just have one question.
Okay.
It says I just want to make sure you want us to use the key signatures and accidentals, like both.
I do. Yeah, okay. That's very important, because if you don't give me the key signature, I don't know that you understand the concept of the secondary stuff.
Okay, just making sure.
And also pop chord symbols on everything.
Okay, yeah.
Is that clear, everybody? Okay.
That's what I did.
Okay. Hey, folks, I didn't know that we were so overtime here. I hope everyone's still on, maybe not. But anyway, I will see you guys on Wednesday, okay? And I'll put this up as an assignment. And I won't make the assignment due until Friday anyway, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Everybody stay well, and I will see you guys on Friday.
Okay.
All right. All right. Ciao. Ciao. Ciao, Bella.